right, we are back
All
and
right.
welcome to Division Therapy. We are back after a short hiatus, family and life getting in the way of things, but we have plenty and plenty to talk about. Liam, how we feeling? We just had a big series,
Well,
buddy.
we gotta give some claps. We gotta give a winner of the season series
Oh,
to the New York Mets,
great.
7-6. Very close, very hard fought season series. A great series both in Queens, in Atlanta. Obviously we finished off the Mets started off, but the Braves obviously kind of bounced back and still ended up getting the series W, but still obviously a congratulations. The first season series of Division Therapy goes to the Mets. How you feeling about that, Brett?
I feel like you're mocking me because for those of you who don't know, it's the first time the Mets have won the season series since 2017. And
Yeah,
of course, it's in a season that just doesn't matter. Like, of course,
at
the
all. Yeah.
season that the Mets beat the Braves in the season series would be a season that the Mets are going absolutely nowhere. However, it does feel pretty nice to play spoiler to the rest of the NL East because some of the teams are still playing for things. Obviously, the Braves and the Phillies, Marlins have kind of fallen off. Um, but I mean, I feel like every team in the past has played spoiler to the Mets, specifically the Marlins, 2007, 2008. I feel like the Braves always have for the Mets as well. So it's kind of nice, even in a lost season, I'm still able to find the silver lining with my hatred of the Braves.
Yeah, and I texted you this. I went to the game two of the series, and my arch enemy is AJ Ewing. Man, this guy loves playing the Braves. Loves playing the Braves. This guy just gets on base, man. And I've texted you about this. I'm so excited about this guy for you, man. Like I am confident that he's going to be a leadoff hitter, unless obviously we get another potential lost season or things don't continue to work out. But hopefully it's a bounce back year next year, a retool, and we're confident because there's still great guys on this baseball team. There's still competitive guys, and one of those is AJ Ewing because it feels like he gets to every ball in the outfield. Feels like he's constantly getting hits from both sides. So
It's
yeah, I'll say he's my favorite player on the Mets if I gotta have one. Definitely
Yeah,
a great player.
I mean, it's crazy how valuable a great defensive center fielder is in the game because
Absolutely.
there aren't many people that can move like him, right? You think of PCA, who's going to win MVP most likely. Um, and then
Carroll probably in right, but obviously
Carroll
if
and
Carroll
right,
likes
but
center,
yeah,
yeah,
like center, I
yeah,
feel like is so hard to play, and I feel like it's a position that historically you don't get a ton offensively from. Like, you would rather have a really great defensive center fielder than like a really bad defensive center fielder who hits. And so Ewing is kind of doing both.
yeah.
I mean, this is like the most excited I've been for a prospect in quite some time. More excited than, Beatty or the baby Mets. Obviously, I was excited about Alvarez. That hasn't really panned out. But, I mean, between Ewing and Benj and Soto, like, that is one of the best outfields in baseball. Um,
Yeah.
I think Bench is a little bit more pop, a little bit more power in the bat than Ewing, but Ewing can run into like 10 to 15 home runs easily with, hopefully like a 750 OPS, and like you said, like lead off this squad, runs the base as well. Just seems like these guys are developing very well because and it's so nice because Andy Green obviously is managing the Mets, but he was VP of Mets player development in the minors. So, one, he knows the guys, and two, he's able to challenge them, which I think is something that Mendoza just never did. Obviously, start of the year, Mendoza didn't really have any rookies there except Benj. And he's probably taken under his wing by a lot of the position players. But now, like, if you look up and down the team right now, it's a lot of first year players, a lot of guys who have prospect pedigree, like that are coming back from injury. I think of Christian Scott, and so you're kind of playing with house money right now because there's no pressure on you. You're not in a playoff hunt, and I think these guys are really starting to flourish. I mean, I think about like
in that top three, I'm like, if we're looking at Christian Scott,
Hmm.
Zach Thornton, and Nolan McLean, that is a great top three. Those are three incredibly talented pitchers. Yet
Yeah,
Zach Thornton ran into a little bit of a tough
but
his
still a
first
quality
start against. It was
start.
still a quality start. Like that
Yeah,
is three great guys that I'm like aren't costing the Mets almost nothing,
yeah.
right? I'm like that is super exciting for the Mets moving forward because they're under control and they're not going anywhere, obviously, unless a potential trade happens. But I'm like that is a core that I think I could see for the next 5-6 years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, beyond those three, you really don't have anyone. Like, I don't know
Right.
how much you believe in Wenninger. I don't know how much you believe in Tong, who's struggled a lot in the minors. Obviously, you have Mania, who's looked really good lately. You know, maybe he pencils into the rotation next year. But we'll get into it a little bit more. But it doesn't look like Senga's going to be in the rotation, and shouldn't be,
No, no,
and
but
shouldn't
but
be.
clearly potentially a relief role.
Could
Relief
be,
role.
could be, and
Yeah, yeah.
so you get Tarek Skubal, and that rotation's the best in baseball, maybe. Like just sneak in a Tarek Skubal, and
You
the
think
Mets will
you
be
think
good.
is that a joke or you think Scoob? No way, Scooble. I'm like obviously Scooble's gonna. I feel like he might even sign that contract before the season is over.
Oh no, 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 no! He's a Boris client. He is going
Yeah,
to
I
go
guess
to the
that's true.
highest bidder. He will go to the highest bidder unless like the dollar is so close. But the Mets, I feel like, are going to go after him hard. I mean, not obviously we still have this season to go, and we'll see what happens with the Dodgers. And obviously, if they win again, it makes it a little easier for Scooble to come back. But Scooble, it feels like, is going to be looking for top dollar. And if you're looking for top dollar, you look no further than the New York Mets because Cohen could write some crazy checks.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's going to happen. I'd love for it to happen. Um,
Mhm.
but you look at the crop of free agent pitchers the next few years, it's real bleak. So it's
Yeah.
Scooble, and then it's like the next couple of years, it's like really old guys who will be past their prime, right? It's like
Mhm.
Sale will be a free agent, Wheeler will be a free agent, DeGrom will be a free agent. Like all these guys who have been, incredible, obviously, in their career. But it's like, do you really want a 38-year-old DeGrom? Do you
Yeah.
want a 39-year-old Chris Sale? I know, obviously, he's still, been really good this
Well,
year,
I'm
but
like AA wanted a 38-year-old DeGrom, and DeGrom said, "No, I'm not going." That's crazy, man.
A true
A
Met through and
true
through.
Met.
This guy loves the Mets.
I would like to believe that he found out that he was going to go to the Braves, and he said, "Hell no." He said,
Yeah. It's
yeah,
not surprising, like knowing who, obviously from afar, but knowing who DeGrom is, like he wanted to be in Texas. He signed. That's he's like a Southern boy, right? He's from Florida, but like there's no pressure on him in Texas. There's no
right,
pressure whatsoever. No one's paying attention to the Rangers.
yeah,
That's cowboy territory. So no one's paying attention to baseball there. So he can
yeah.
kind of just coast by, pay no income tax, and do his thing.
Yeah, understandable.
Whereas
Understandable.
I'd be curious
Yeah,
though. I'd be curious to see like what do you think the package for Degrom would have had to have been?
I'm like, it must have been pretty significant.
It had to have been, right?
I think that it must have been either like Hartman or Heel or maybe like Owen Murphy,
Mm.
and then maybe Matei, like some of the guys that were DFA'd, maybe like Eli White was in there, like maybe something like that, like a couple, but like with two big prospects like Owen Murphy and John Heel or something like that, or
What
maybe
about like a
even
Smith
Eric
Shawver?
Smith Shawver's definitely. I don't. I definitely think people came knocking for him
Yeah.
100%, and I think AA might have intentionally kept him because apparently he's going to be back next week
Saw that.
to be
Saw
pitching.
that.
Yeah,
Yep.
so yeah, I'm like has obviously had his control issues, but we need huge production from him. So I definitely think people came knocking for him, and I think it was definitely a no
Yeah.
from AA's side, but he made a lot of no's. I'm like apparently the Braves were also very deep in with Scooble, and I like if you want to be a conspiracy
I don't
theorist,
know how much I believe that.
you can be whatever. I genuinely believe that the Major League Baseball had some sort of hand in the Tigers accepting Zaire Hope is an incredible prospect.
Hmm.
I think that he has the opportunity to be a great outfielder, but that's it. That's really
They
it.
got they got River Ryan. I know, he's
I know,
28 years old,
but
but
two players. That's it for Scooble.
they
That's
got they got
it.
somebody else. They got one other guy. Let me check.
I thought it, but I
They
just
got one
didn't,
other player.
I just didn't feel like the trade package made much sense. It really felt like it was genuinely,
Yeah,
there was
Brady
just something
Smith.
there.
Brady
Brady
Smith.
Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It was just weird, really weird to me. It felt like for some reason the Dodgers were the front runner no matter what the package was. And that just kind of, like, why would the Tigers care? You know what I mean? Why would the Tigers care about that? That's Dodgers' success. You know what I mean? Like, it just
Yeah.
felt fishy. It
I
felt
think
weird. I don't know.
I mean, like, I see your point obviously, but I think, like, I don't know. Every We know nothing, right?
Right.
I always have to go back to that. We know nothing. We are not, prospect savants by any means. Even the prospect savants are, miss. So it's like all these teams have their own internal rankings. We see, Zaire Hope, as a top maybe 50-ish prospect, mid 25,
Yeah.
30. It's like
Yeah.
maybe they see him as a top 10, top 15 prospect in all of baseball, And so it's like our valuations are super different. I mean, I think like the only team that had a remote chance against the Dodgers was the Brewers, and it didn't seem like they really wanted to part with their guy who they kept asking for. It seemed like the Tigers really
Was it
wanted.
Jesus? Was it Made that they wanted?
No, it was reading between the lines from what I've seen just like on socials, it's Logan Henderson is who they wanted.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
rightfully
yeah.
so. Like this, Scooble is a rental. Not to get too far down the Scooble, rabbit hole, but he's a rental. He will be going to the highest bidder. It could be the Dodgers. It certainly helps, to play half a year and see if you like LA. But he might not. He really might.
Yeah.
He might not want a big
And
market.
so far, not going so well. So
He's been
far, not
okay.
going so.
He's been okay.
Yeah,
He's
but
been okay.
hey, but we expect almost perfection
I
from
think
School.
if you're a Dodgers fan, you don't give a shit what he does before the postseason.
This
As
is
long
true.
as
This
you
is
toe
true.
the rubber in game one, right? He probably starts over Yamamoto. As long as you toe the rubber in game one and shove, I couldn't care less.
I will say, and I've seen this kind of discourse a little bit as a Dodgers fan. I feel like that wild card series could be a potential. So I still think they need to compete. I
Oh
still
yeah.
think for success for the Dodgers, because I think vice versa for the Braves. I don't really know. Like, I still am worried about a potential first round exit situation for them.
Yeah.
But it's like I really do think that buy for the Dodgers has clearly worked for them. Has
Hmm.
clearly worked for them and has been beneficial to them. And I think that they could potentially be surprised in the wild card coming in cocky. Maybe they don't pitch Scooble in the wild card to maybe focus on the DS. I like, because they have a
That's
great rotation.
crazy. That is crazy. It
Maybe
might be
they
the
don't.
craziest thing you've ever said.
But maybe they don't, because the Dodgers are a cocky baseball team and they have an incredible rotation. So maybe they don't pitch him. Maybe they think they save him for the DS. You know what I mean? And it's just like I feel like there's a possibility that they get surprised. But we're getting off the. But that's, I guess, a crazy take. Whatever it
Yeah,
is.
that is
But
a crazy take.
let's get on the Mets. Let's get on the Braves. Let's talk a little bit more. And I want to start off a little bit, and I want to talk about someone who I think I need to offer a little bit of apology to. Austin, I'm sorry. I feel like I've been a little hard on you, and I will
Rightfully
say,
so. Rightfully so.
rightfully so. But August, Big Thick 316 Austin Riley, he might be back. He's shown up at the plate. He's slashing 351, 375, 705 with 1,000 OPS in August. Went back to back with Yaz at game three. I'm like, he's started to kind of turn the corner a little bit. And I will say he did. He has had two kind of other moments in the year where he's been, but this has been a consistent, August spurt where we've seen kind of him turn a little bit of the page here. So I definitely think that Austin is seeing what he needs to do, seeing the changes that he needs to make, and obviously it's important that he kind of delivers. So I'm hoping that he continues to grow on the success that he's having. Obviously, not expecting 1,000 OPS for the rest of the month, but I'm expecting him to consistently not swing outside the zone. And that is what he's been doing, which has kind of seen the success being more patient at the plate. So that's been kind of the main thing that we've seen so far that has been like super big. And another thing for the Braves, Tyler Mahle, man, I'm like, I crashed out. I
AA might
crashed
be
out.
knowing something.
Maybe AA knows something because, and clearly Tyler Mahle owns the city of New York because he's gone 12 innings pitched, 16 strikeouts against the Yankees and the Mets. The fastball, which doesn't have crazy velocity, but is clearly fooling people when it's kind of riding outside of the zone like it. And then the changeup splitter that he has, it's working. So it's worked these past 2 games, and right now, unless we see stuff from Shawver, like clearly he's the game 2 pick for the Braves, because that's been this whole discord in Braves Twitter, like who would be our game 2 starter? Would it be Elder? But then Elder obviously stank it up. Would it be Perez? And Perez is back and forth, and I think I don't know if we're going to see what we see from Perez in the playoffs. And so it's either going to be Shawver or now it's going to be Mahle. And
I thought for a while it would be Schwellenbach, but it seems like his rehab got paused or slowed or something's going on with him.
They're being very tight-lipped with Schwellenbach, and I honestly think it's just because they aren't seeing progression from him. I think that I would rather them just say we're shutting him down. See you next year, because there are some Braves fans that thinks that we could see him in the playoffs, but do you really want a guy that hasn't pitched all year to just go pitch in the playoffs?
I agree.
Yeah, I just like that's just not a recipe for success. I'm like if it's a bad start and then he settles in, I'm like, we need at least a bad start from him to settle in, and you can't have a bad start in the playoffs. So
I will say, going back to Riley, it feels like he is selling out for power at this point. His K rate is through the roof the last 15 games. Since the start of August, It's 30%. Like, he's really selling out for power here. So, he's hitting the ball incredibly hard. And he's making some loud outs as well, but I feel like it's going to revert back to the mean, and it'll be maybe not as bad as it once was, because he did have an OPS like under 600 for a little bit, right? Or like 650, trending that way. But I mean, right now, if he can put the team on his back, it feels like, that would be a huge help. It seems like that's what Matt Olson is kind of doing now, tied for the league in home runs. It's like, I made a bet preseason on one of the apps that Matt Olson would have the most home runs on the year.
Really?
Yeah. Like through like $10 or something.
Hey, what's that going to pay out if you win?
I think like 300, and like the odds are pretty good. Odds are pretty good on that. I don't think he wins it. I think, someone's about to go on a binge real quick. Probably like Jordan, but
I'm like the reason that he's caught up is because the rest of the league is, especially those league leaders, have kind of stopped hitting home runs. Jordan,
it's kind of crazy like how low the number is where we are on the calendar. Like August 13th and only 35 home runs leads the league. Like it's pretty low. Man. Dead ball, Acuna. Looking at the balls. Was he onto something?
He must have been.
Might have been.
That's hilarious. My favorite meme is they used AI where it's like it was the picture, but then it's him holding a W that looks like baseballs.
Of course.
But I want to talk about what we talked about earlier. Senga, reliever, closer.
Closer.
What do we got here, Brett?
Closer.
Yeah,
I think Senga might be the closer of the Mets next season. Like, no, genuinely.
You're serious?
Yes, because Devin Williams has showed you that he cannot play in New York. He just has. That's 2 seasons in a row. Obviously, like, I think the numbers, I think the whole persona around Williams was a little, overblown, right? He had a great last 2 months in the Bronx last year. And so I was really excited when they signed him. But he, outside of the month, I believe, of June or July, has been pretty rough. Now he's on the
Both our
IL.
closers, both our closers,
Yeah.
both our closers have struggled.
Yeah,
So,
and it's
but
like
yeah,
he's on the IL now, Devin Williams. I don't think there's any reason. I know there's no reason to rush him back. So we're gonna see what Senga is, and honestly, like this role fits Senga. This is kind of what Mets fans have low key been saying for past year. It's like this guy is so frustrating as a starter because his whole schedule, and he's kind of just like a prima donna with like the rest days, and he's not going to pitch out of the bullpen. Now he's pitching out of the bullpen, and he looked pretty good as a closer. Obviously, like he has the makeup of a closer. He has those two pitches. He has the fastball and he has the fork ball, the ghost fork. And so that's kind of the same thing as Devin Williams, the fastball and the airbender. So it's like I could see a world in which Senga is our closer. I don't know if he is I think with him, it is all between the ears with that guy. It's all mental for Senga. Similar how it was for Edwin Diaz. I thought like if he's like shaken, closer is such a tough job in baseball, right?
it is.
You not only need to at this point throw gas, like what closer is not throwing, absolute heat, and then also have like a filthy off speed, but mentally you need to be up to the test. And so that's the part that I question, because I believe that Senga can go out an inning at a time, every other day, or 2 days in a row, take a break for a couple days and then go back out. I fully believe that he can throw some heat, and he can be effective as a pitcher, but mentally I just don't know. I love that they're giving him a look. I think that's what the rest of the season should be. Give people looks at places where, it might not make sense, or it does make sense. Like I think, keep Benj and Ewing in the corners, or sorry, keep Ewing in center field, keep Benj in right field. I hate when they play Luis Robert. I hate that they didn't trade him, but it's like, everything else.
So he was playing. So with the game two, right, against Perez, he was playing center, and Ewing was playing left, right? It's like, so what's the deal there? I'm like, they didn't trade him.
Yeah.
So do they see him next year? What role is he going to play on the Mets next year?
I don't know.
Like,
it's tough. He's tough because he does have that option. He's like a $20 million option, which I believe is a team option, I want to say. Let me look it up real quick. But anyways, he's tricky because I think a reason that he wasn't traded is because of this option. He's obviously, been hurt. Yeah, club option. So $20 million. I'd be shocked if the Mets picked it up. Just because why would you? You have your outfield.
Yeah.
You have, Soto in left, Ewing in center, Benj in right. Why would you screw that up? I thought he was going to get traded. I thought, the week leading up to the trade deadline, he did hit a few home runs, showed that he was healthy, could play the field a little bit. Like, that's why we thought he was in the lineup, because they were showcasing his ability to be healthy and to be productive in the lineup. And then, obviously, trade deadline comes, and he's still on the team, which was just mind-boggling to me. And now, David Stearns is like, yeah, he's too talented. Like, we want to see what we have here. And I'm like, I think
he's a lazy DH.
He's a lazy DH, yeah. I've been fairly an apologist for David Stearns. I will think the one part where he went wrong this season was taking on players who have a lot of injury history and just hoping for the best, right? Like, you look at Polanco, you look at Luis Robert, you look at some of these other guys that they got, and they have been out for most of the season.
And when they've played, they've been terrible. I'm like, Polanco, terrible,
Semien,
Robert, terrible, Peralta, terrible, Semien, terrible. I'm like, I'm like, pretty much every single player that the Mets brought in free agency, except for Bo. Basically, Bo is it, right? Bo is the only one that has obviously consistently played and has produced in some sense of the word. Other than that, the rest of the guys haven't. I'm like, Bo's the only one, right?
Yes, offensively, yes. Bullpen, like, I was fine with trading the entire bullpen. I feel confident that Stearns is able to build a bullpen year in and year out with, bottom of the barrel guys. Free agent wise, the bullpen, so like Weaver was really good for the Mets.
That's true.
Obviously they traded him. and then a year ago Clay Holmes, that's been a really great signing.
What is
Obviously, they
the
traded him.
what is the
So
prospect that you think you're most excited about from all of these prospects that you got in the trade deadline? What's the one that you're most excited about? Do you feel like?
I thought that Stearns missed on a lot of these deals, but being able to get Jefferson Rojas from the Cubs
Yep.
was
Yeah.
a huge, just like saved the Mets trade deadline, honestly, because we had been hearing, every Mets fan was like, we need a top 100 prospect. We need a top 100 prospect. And then you give him Clay Holmes, who looked good in his rehab, but ultimately was coming back from a major injury, and Tyrone
Yeah.
Taylor, who was a fourth outfielder for the Mets, and you turn that into, top 100, arguably top 50 prospect, who is going to, slot into the infield. Now they have kind of a battle for infield reps when you break camp in spring training next year, because Mitch Voigt has looked really good too. I mean, they have a lot of really good prospects. I
But
thought
he's
that
only
they
at double. Are you surprised that he's in double A? That he's not in Syracuse?
Mitch Voigt. No, I'm not surprised. He
No,
he
no, no,
just
no. Rojas.
No, I think, he'll either get there this year, by the end of this year, or he will get there by the start of next year.
Hmm.
I'm not super surprised, but yeah, I mean, the guy is he's really good.
Yeah, yeah.
Defensively, he's really good. He's got a great profile, hitting profile as well. I'm kind of shocked that the Cubs decided to trade him. I know the Cubs have such a logjam of infielders, right? You have Triantos, you have Matt Shaw, you have a couple other guys as well. So it's not
Yeah.
surprising that they traded from their treasure trove of infield prospects. I was just surprised that it was that infield prospect. Um, with that said, I'm also super stoked about Sammy Stafura, the guy that they got for Luke Weaver.
Yep.
Um, just like hometown kid, huge Mets fan. He actually was asked about his, like, not all time starting nine, but like his starting nine for the Mets.
Yeah.
And you could tell that this guy's just like a Mets sicko. Like, he was pulling some names that like not a ton of
Yeah, yeah,
people
yeah.
would normally pick. So really excited about that. He's obviously had a really great last month or so before the
Yeah.
trade deadline. And the Mets have kind of been looking for a third baseman as well. So
Yeah.
all in all,
Absolutely.
like, I think they did a great job. Not a great job. I think they did a good job at the trade deadline. I would have been interested to see, had they not paid down money for Weaver, could they have gotten Murph, the other Pirates prospect?
Yeah.
If they ate the entire contract. Same thing with Minter. Like, you got two top 20 prospects. If you paid down the remainder of that contract, could you have gotten one top 15, top 10 prospect? I don't know.
Hmm.
And obviously, this is all relative, right? Like, you know, we look at the prospect rankings and we, all of a sudden think we know something. Obviously, teams have different, have deeper prospects than some other teams, right? Like, the top 8 Milwaukee Brewers prospect is very different than the top,
Well,
8
I got to
Blue
tell you, man,
Jays.
if you find some time, you should go watch some minor league baseball. And obviously, I understand Syracuse, and I
It's a
don't
bit
even know where
far.
I
It's a
don't
bit
even know where
far.
Binghamton is. Where the hell is Binghamton? I don't even know where that
It's a
is.
bit far as
Um,
well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But I'm like, if you do, because the obviously all of the minor leagues are close to kind of around me, so I can watch
Hmm.
it. It's fun to go see some of these guys, man. You can see the future, and it's fun, and not a lot of people there. And I went to the Rome Emperors game last
Hmm.
week, and it was a bunch of fun. So yeah, but I was happy with that as well. Finally we've talked about Malley. Obviously Thomas for the Braves got his first home run in Game Three
Obsessed
as
with this
well.
guy.
This an absolute tank. Terrible pitch from Thornton. It was a
Of
terrible
course.
pitch. Absolute hanging cutter. It was not a great pitch, but that's what we got him for. And I want him to play every day. But clearly the platoon is
He's a
working because
platoon. He's a platoon, though. Why do you want him to
yeah,
play every day? I don't understand.
because he played every day in Kansas City, and I
Yeah, they
believe
suck.
yeah,
That team was awful. There's
yeah,
a
but
reason
but
that you want him as a platoon.
I just think that, like, and this is a crazy example. Okay, it's a crazy example. Okay, so when I play MLB The Show,
Oh,
right?
brother.
And I am hitting against a righty, I hit better against lefties in MLB The Show, right? Hitting from the right side. I'm the Ozzy Albies, right? And so when I'm hitting against a righty and I switch to a lefty, I have more confidence where it's okay, I was seeing pitches, and so I can feel confident in the angles. And I feel like
Feel
that's
free to
like,
skip this part of the video, everyone. Liam's
I
talking
feel like
about
that's definitely
how
a thing.
he
I
is
feel like that's definitely
equating
a
success in MLB The Show to real life baseball and making decisions. Absolutely not.
I feel like that's
crazy of you to
definitely a
say.
thing. I feel like that's definitely a thing where it's like you're facing righties, and it's like when you get that lefty, you have more confidence, you're able to see balls better. I feel like that's definitely a thing.
I don't know. These guys are professionals. They do this for a living. Like, I think you're comparing like apples and oranges right now. If I'm being honest.
Whatever.
But listen, AA is making you look like an idiot because Mally has been sick.
Yeah, Mally's been sick. Suter hasn't really been much bad. That dude's absolutely hilarious. I love Brent Suter. I don't know if you've seen these videos from when he was in Cincinnati.
No.
Like the dude is hilarious.
Yeah.
Like really true like dad energy. I don't know if he's actually a father, but he brings that. But let's, we did it when we were on the Braves Idiots podcast. Obviously, another big thank you to them. We had an
That was a lot of
absolute
fun.
blast.
That was a sick time.
Please go check out that episode. That game show was a blast. But we did the panic meter there, and let's get back to the panic meter. And I'll start off. Obviously, as far as the team is concerned, we're 9.5 ahead. Phillies, embarrassing stuff. But my panic meter is very specific. I have a 7 panic meter for the end of the game, and specifically for Iglesias. Iglesias has had a 5 ERA in both the months of July and August. The velocity has dipped. He's now a 92. And the thing about Iglesias is that arm angle with the changeup, right? It's like when the changeup is going out of the zone, it's an incredible pitch, right? But when that changeup is hanging, and Alvarez missed a hanger, hanging changeup in that game 3, where I'm like, that honestly, it should have been gone. The Mets should have tied the game or taken the lead. I mean, and it's like they didn't, obviously, because Alvarez missed that pitch. But it's just like Iggy has looked really bad, and it kind of depends who you ask in Braves country. But I think the solution to this is Didier Fuentes closing for the Braves. He has an incredible fastball. That fastball is insane. He has a 1.89 ERA in total, which is the lowest rookie reliever ERA since 1910 for the Braves. So I'm like, he has had an insane rookie relieving season. I personally think he should stay in the bullpen. Depending on who you ask, they believe that he's going to be in the rotation next year. But I think that he has one, if not the best, right-handed fastballs on the team currently. And I'm like, you can't say that a right-handed 100-mile-per-hour fastball isn't what you want in a close situation. So I don't know. I just don't know what we're looking at. And obviously, Robert Suarez is a complete question mark right now. Apparently, he's going to start his throwing progressions this weekend, but we don't even really know what his situation is and if he's going to come back.
I mean, listen,
like
similar to Senga, I know that there were like conflicting reports out of Atlanta with this name I'm about to say that they cleared out his locker, but now they're kind of like, he might come back.
Yeah,
Strider could be your closer.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm like, apparently he started his throwing progressions. Apparently he's working through it, and we could potentially see him in a rehab assignment. I think it's by the end of this month. I don't really know. I'm like, he's a starter. Strider considers himself a starter. Some people think he's this funny guy. I honestly think he's just kind of a diva.
You're done with him.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think he's that good when the fastball isn't where it needs to be.
Yeah,
I just
fastball's not moving. He is nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't really
but,
think he's that good of a pitcher.
There have been guys that have learned to, locate once, we'll see how he bounces back from this injury, but, let's say he doesn't, that fastball is not where it was.
I don't think...
He can learn how to locate. He can learn how to throw the ball.
Yeah. But to answer your question, I don't think I think he's a starter, and I think the Braves see him as a starter. I don't think I think that Didier Fuentes, because he was a rookie, they were like, okay, buddy, starting isn't really working, but they saw the fastball, and he's been incredible in a reliever role.
Yeah.
So, but I think that you have that ability to tell a rookie what to do. I don't think you can really tell Strider what to do.
Yeah,
So,
I don't think that they're gonna part with Iglesias. Like, I know that this is like what we think or what you want is to happen. I just think Iglesias is gonna be the guy, unless he blows like
yeah.
a couple games in a row, and the lead, the division lead gets a little closer. Maybe they start putting him in like a little bit of lower leverage for the next couple days just to get him right. Maybe for like the next week or so because they have such a lead in the division. But I think at the end of the day, come postseason, I don't think there's any way Fuentes is closing.
Yeah, and we'll see. We'll see. But I definitely think that this all depends on what Suarez looks like, and if we get Suarez back by the playoffs, because then
Yeah, then
obviously
sure, then it
then
comes
then
Suarez.
he then he needs to be closing, and then maybe we do a flip flop where then Iglesias goes into that setup role like they did, and just do a flip flop of what we had previously.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We'll see. But what's your panic? Are you panicked? What are you thinking?
Panic meter of a 2. Right, a lot of the panic was
Yeah.
about trade deadline, who you're going to get, who are you going to trade. They did a great job trading. Other than Luis Robert, they traded just about everybody that we talked about. Remember when I said, like, Mets hot take is the Mets are going to trade 5 of their players? They traded 8 of them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they really cleaned house. They improved their prospect ranking from 26th in MLB to 16th, according to
Yeah.
some writers, and so that's like a great sign. You're kind of playing with house money right now, right? There's no pressure on these guys, so it's like, okay, show me what you got. Let's see if you deserve a spot in the rotation next year. Let's see if you can break camp next year. Let's see if Francisco Alvarez, if you can put together an 800 OPS season. That would be an amazing stepping stone, and stay healthy the rest of the time. AJ Ewing, let's see, let's see how high these guys can finish in the Rookie of the Year rankings, because McLean has looked great all of a sudden. Not all of a sudden, but there was a point where he was struggling. Not to a point of like we're gonna send him down, but he was definitely struggling. I mean, I remember earlier in the year, me and you would talk about, is Benj going to get sent down? He's really struggled. Like, ever since he's gotten into that leadoff spot, he is really just like taking the bull by the horns. And so, I think a lot of it is yeah, what can these guys do? I'm excited to see Mitch Voigt. I'm excited to see what he does in Double A. See if he's maybe in Triple A by next year. The Mets, it's not unlike the Mets to send someone right from Double A to the majors. It could happen. It's rare, but it could happen. I don't think it'll happen this year by any means, but like now the panic meter is very low, because what's there to be panicked about? The season's over, right? There was that like small like 4-game winning streak that they won on, and people are like, oh, if the Mets go 40-11, they can make the playoffs, and it's like, dude, no, no. No. All hope is gone. Hope has been gone for, the past month, 2 months. Like, this is just about play your young guys. Let's see what we got. Because next year, they are going to compete. Or whenever baseball is played.
Right.
They are going to compete. They are not going to roll over and be rebuilding. This is a team that has a really solid core. There were a lot of guys that have taken steps forward this year, and a lot of guys that people are calling about that the Mets said no, right? Like, the Mets said no to Torrens and Alvarez, and that is so smart. Like, they should not have traded them, because Torrens is an elite defensive catcher. Alvarez, I don't think that he, maybe he sticks at catcher long term. He's a hell of a DH, though. The Mets have kind of had a revolving door of DH ever since the DH was implemented in the NL, right? Like Daniel Vogelback, Jared Young, like, these guys, it's like, okay, maybe Alvarez is the guy. So, the Mets are going to compete next year. I'm excited to see what they do, in the offseason. A lot of people are saying that the people that the Mets traded for this trade deadline will be traded again come offseason. Like, these are guys that are going to be packaged for some real players. Which makes sense, because, yeah, like, if, can't really wait. You can't really afford to wait for these guys to develop and see what you have if you want to compete next year, which I think they do. So,
Right. Yeah.
yeah, that's kind of
Well,
where I'm at right now.
Yep. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, we'll quickly do our players of the series. Obviously, Austin Riley, 4 for 10, almost hit for the cycle in the final game. That was pretty sick. And then he'll share it with Lane Thomas, getting his first home run. As a Brave at Truist Park, that was sick. And the as far as what we're looking at moving forward, the Braves play the Diamondbacks in Atlanta. Unfortunately, obviously we want to win those games, but that's going to benefit the Phillies. But good news for us, the Phillies just god awful, so they'll probably keep losing as well. But that's what we're looking at. Lane Thomas, Austin Riley for player of the game, and the Braves are looking at a weekend series with the Snakes. What about you, Brett?
Yeah, I'll go. I don't think that there was any like amazing standout performances, kind of like Riley, but I'll give it to Brett Beatty. He's had such a down year. To see him able to hit that grand slam and kind of a weight off his shoulders in a way. Remember, he hit his first career home run against the Braves in Atlanta, so maybe he likes playing there. But I'll give it to him. It could have gone to a number of people. Benj the last like month has been raking. He didn't have an amazing series, but like the last week or two, he's just been on fire. Thornton, quality start. Like, it could have gone to a lot of people. I'll give it to Brett Beatty. On the horizon, the Mets play the Nats at home, so again, can kind of continue to play spoiler. Nats 3 games under 500. Still itching though. Still crawling for maybe a wild card spot. Who knows? But yeah, I mean, we'll see.
With James Wood on the IL now, which
James
just
Wood
is
on the
brutal.
IL, yeah.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah,
But yeah,
they have an interesting. They could still hit with the best of them though, right? Like
yeah.
they destroyed the Blue Jays today, I believe.
One thing,
So
yeah, obviously, something interesting that I saw about, and this is the last thing we'll talk about, is that Abrams, a clear superstar in the league, is not talked about. But then the specific example, Rutschman, was Orioles, never really talked, immediately goes to Boston, immediately being posted. It's brutal, man. It's just like Major League Baseball needs to do a better job with talking about all players who are making a positive impact on the game.
yeah,
And that was an absolutely insane trade. Don't get me wrong. The Sox getting Rutschman is insane, but it's just like, I just don't understand why they refuse to acknowledge players like Abrams who are clearly, superstars and one of the best shortstops in baseball. So
yeah.
it's brutal.
I mean, to kind of push back a little bit, like Rutschman was a number 1 prospect in baseball and just hasn't panned out the last couple of years. Still elite defensively, and Abrams, he was obviously in the Juan Soto trade.
Yeah.
And so he was a top prospect, but yeah, I mean, he's him and Wood, like that offensive duo could be the next decade for the Nationals. If I'm the Nationals, I'm locking them up for the next however
Holding
many
on tight.
years,
Absolutely.
buying out their arbitration years. But then they also have, I believe, Brady House, who's a shortstop
Yep.
as well. So, champagne problems, good problems to have. We're gonna see him in New York. Oh, sorry, Eli Willits is who I was thinking of.
Yeah, yeah,
Top
Eli,
prospect.
yeah,
Top prospect.
Eli, yeah. Well, that is gonna do it for today. Thanks so much for joining Division Therapy, and we'll talk to you soon. See ya.
Bye, guys.